Good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
So, the first question I want to ask the audience is, was the lunch good? मजा आ गया? आ गया? अगर आया है तो एनर्जी क्यों नहीं है?
खाना हो गया.
हाँ, या बार ओपन नहीं है. बार के साथ तो कुछ और ही होगा. Okay, anyway, good afternoon and welcome. I'm RJ Rubina. How many of you here listen to the radio? अगर नहीं भी तो हाँ भी बोल दो यार. थोड़ी खुशी मिल जाएगी. Okay. So I host the night show on Red FM called Thoda Personal, where we talk. Thank you. So where we talk about stories, love stories, and when they said this topic, मुझे लगा कि this is like the perfect topic. So that's a little about me, but we've got some great panelists sitting here. Let's start by introducing the gorgeous Divya Chauhan. So Divya is been around in the industry for a really long time. Has firstly I should talk about how she was Miss India, former Miss India. Yeah, you really look gorgeous even today. Trust me. you can use the mic, Divya. So, and yes, you were saying something. So Divya has been around in the industry for a really long time. She and Vitika, they together started Divya Vitika Wedding Planners, and they've been around for over a decade. Yeah, and doing some amazing work. So ladies and gentlemen, give her a big round of applause. So the next panelist is Nilma Dilipan, and when I met Nilma, I said that there's a lot that we have in common. Okay, yes, she's a Malayali, I'm a part Malayali too, but we'll keep that discussion aside. Other than that, Nilma has been, she's worked in the production house, she's done some amazing work, and then she decided, okay, event is what I want to do, let's get into wedding, and she started this with absolutely no experience and got into this company called With Love Nilima. I love the name because it says whatever we do it with love. So, welcome. And then when we're talking about love stories, we do have an amazing couple here. Well, there's a lot that I want to ask you guys about as well, but put your hands together for Farha Kudari. Did I get the name right? Okay. So Farha is the founder of Pink Pagadi, and they're basically into concept weddings, and even Farha has left her high profile job and decided that event is the calling, and she started Pink Pagadi. And I can say she's the Sanjay Leela Bansali of the event company, because no matter what, when it's a Divya's wedding, then there's larger than life setups. So welcome Divya. And right next to Divya is, basically his company is called Page 3 Entertainment, but I can say he himself is a Page 3 celebrity. हर कोई यहाँ पे जानता है, हर कोई कहता है कि यार अगर कुछ जानना है, सीखना है तो श्रीनी से सीख लो. So Srini is the founder and CEO of Page 3 Entertainments and co-founder and director of Pink Pagadi. And one of the profiles that's like so many clients, some of the biggest clients, some of the biggest artists. So welcome Srini. Okay, so let's start with our questions, and most of them here have left their high profile jobs and decided to get into events and get into wedding and pursue their dreams. So let me ask you this, Farah. In 2011, you quit your high-paying job and then you decided to get into the event industry. So what was the kind of fear you had, and what was it that you said, okay, I'm going to do it, and how did you overcome it? What's the kind of fear you had?
Sure. So Rubina, that's a question that I get asked pretty often. In fact, the first people to ask me that question were my parents and my mother-in-law. Like, what is wrong with you? We've already seen him and he works late nights, and you've got a 9-to-5 job and you're getting paid well. Why is this that you're doing to yourself? But I think it was destiny. I had this hint throughout my education time and things like that, wherein I think I was destined to be a wedding planner or maybe an event manager as such. Because coming from a middle class family background, you had to always work for making your pocket money, and I used to work as a promoter back in college to make, and you used to stand outside these stores and you would get 20 bucks paid per application that you would fill in from the clients. So there is where I started. That is how I used to make my pocket money, and then I went ahead, did my MBA and things like that. Now you've done your MBA in finance and marketing, you've got this pressure of taking up a job, and you would not have a courage of telling them, saying that hum sab chhod ke will do something else now, kind of a thing. So I took up that job, and when I was still working, that is when I met Srini, and he was already into events. And not many of you will know, but I started off mostly into corporate and IP properties as such. And just before launching Pink Pagdi, I was doing this IP property called Miss Hyderabad, which became one of the biggest local level beauty pageants, which had a direct affiliation of it, Miss India as such, wherein the winners would get into Miss India. And I always had a flair for marketing, and one fine day a lady walked up to me and she told me, saying that, why don't you do my wedding? I did that wedding, and in that wedding I got my next 2 weddings. And that evening I decided, saying that let me quit my job and start a wedding company. So if you're talking about fear, the only fear that I had, so frankly speaking, there was no fear as such. The only doubt that I had in mind is saying that maybe I'm good at creativity, maybe I'm good at concept, but would I be able to run a business? Okay. First, second, third might happen, but how am I going to get my future business? And I do not belong to a business family as such. I have no experience doing this. So now that is a thing that I always had in mind. But then I said to myself, what is the worst that could happen? That I will try this for 2 years, and then I could always go back to my job that I was doing. Maybe I'll have to again start from the scratch over there, but look at me here, I am 10 years, 11 years down the line, sitting here and telling you my story. So I think it is the giant leap that I ended up taking at that point of time, overcoming my fear of saying that, can I do it? Because over a period of time, you realize that you have so much in you that you do not know about yourself.
Absolutely.
So I think that was my biggest fear at that point of time, and I had a very supportive family and a partner who helped me overcome that, and I think this is how it's working.
Business we see clear.
बिजनेस तो ऐसा सीखा है कभी तो मैं श्रीनी के साथ ही बिजनेस कर लेती हूँ.
Well, when you have him around, then you definitely know that you'll get the business right. Okay, so let's move on to Nilima. So Nilima, you know, all of you here have done like undoubtedly numerous number of events and weddings, but I love the name, With Love Nilima, where you said, okay, no matter what I do, I'm going to create some memories. And she was just telling me that I love when people send me a message saying, okay, it was a great event. That's what keeps you going. So tell me, among all the events that you've done, which one you feel was the best or extremely special for you, and why?
Check. Honestly, it's very difficult to say which is your best. I'm sure all of us sitting here has the same thought. Of course, some clients who are kind of annoying, you will always remember, and they will, I mean, those are the kind of events that you learn from a lot. I was unfortunately bitten bad once by a vendor where he didn't supply about 20% of the decor materials that was required for the wedding. So, you know, the wedding didn't turn out that amazingly. About 75% was done. But the bride was still happy, and there were repercussions and all of that. I'm going to pay back some money. But then 2-3 years later, the bride called me again, and she said she had a baby girl, and she wants me to do the baptism for her baby girl. And she said, I trust you, but please don't use the same decor partner. And of course, I learned over time, because I've been doing this for about 9 years now, and like you said, I have no experience. I've just been meeting people and trying to find different partners. So of course, getting that phone call from her, where she trusted me again to do her event, that for me is like a memorable one.
Wonderful. I think that's exactly what all of us look forward to, right? So when they call you back, then you know you've done something right. So talking about collaborations, I need to talk to Srini. Srini, you very strongly believe that competition is not the way it is. It's all about collaboration. That's the way the business is going to go ahead. So tell me, we are going to come to vendor collaboration, but I want to understand, how do you collaborate so beautifully, and what's the secret to successful collaboration?
Sure. Well, actually, for me also, realizing collaboration is the way forward. It took some time for me as well. But I think that one first move, earlier you always used to have a fear of collaborating or partnering. We are really not sure how things will go forward. I think understanding the right wavelength Two is understanding the strengths of the other partner with whom you are collaborating is very important. And three, the biggest learnings are constantly you keep learning with each other. Okay, I think this industry is never ending for all of us. So today, I think I might have done more than about 21 plus collaborations till date. And one big collaboration partner is right here sitting in this room from Bangalore, Aussie Ashok. So all my events out here in Bangalore, I keep collaborating with him and do a lot of work with him as well. So once you get that, a feel of a trust, okay, I have actually realized my business have actually, earlier I had a bandwidth of taking say X amount of business. Now I'm actually doing 10X with these collaborations because you are not employing more people, but you are actually partnering with more, teams and companies. And I think that trust will actually make you grow faster. And it'll give you a bigger appetite to chew. I think that's one thing what I've actually learned from collaborations. And then the biggest competition, what I feel, competition has to be there, but that has to be self-competition. You are a biggest competitor for yourself, okay? How can you do much better than before? So leaving that, as soon as you think you have a competition in the market, that means you are fearful. I feel all that you need is dream big, take risk, and just work hard. I think there is no reverse for all of these three things, and I think that's a success mantra what I've actually learned over a period of time.
Wonderful. I mean, some great points there, Srini. But talking about collaboration, we should also talk about collaborating with local artisans and craftsmen. Now, that's like a unique aspect of wedding decor. So, tell us, how do you source and work with these individuals to bring authenticity to your events?
Okay, this area of business, earlier it used to be a little difficult for us to actually source different teams or different skills from the market. But now with the internet age, you have tons of information and context, but all that you need to be is very cautious, understand, take a right reference, like especially all these associations, talk about EMA, KEMA, TEMA, all the associations as well as your colleagues from different associations, just take their reference and do a background check. That's very, very important before even we go ahead and collaborate. Because today there are a lot of online frauds as well. I mean, I have actually, I fell prey to one of them. So that's a big learning for us. And I think right now, the kind of information and data available online is the best way to actually go ahead, understand, source the right teams, and then more important is to do the background check before you actually collaborate.
Yeah. As you said, the scam happens to irrespective of anyone. No matter how educated you are, how aware you are, you will still fall prey to it. Let's now talk to Divya. Divya, you've been doing this for a decade. You've done quite a lot of corporate events as well. And you've been a professional model. You've worked with some really big names in the industry. So wedding planning is often considered the most rewarding jobs, but it requires a good taste as well. And it's just not good taste. So what, according to you, are the top skills a wedding planner should possess?
So Rubina, hello everyone. I don't know if we can say that wedding planning is a very rewarding business. A lot of my colleagues would agree with me because, when you do wedding planning, like for example, all of them are experts in their fields and they come with their craft. So as a wedding planner, you have to stitch everything together for an event. The person who's doing the catering is concentrating on his work. The decor person is concentrating on his work. The artists are doing their work. So as a wedding planner, you have to have a top view to make sure that everything is put together practically and making sure that the safety aspects are taken care of. So one of the skill sets which I tell people when they ask me, I bluntly say, common sense. Just common sense about how things will work practically, So that's one of the first things. And then, you have to be a people's person. You have to like people because ultimately it's not about the flowers or the equipment or the product. It's about the person handling it. So as a wedding planner, you look into the strengths and weaknesses of every vendor. You try and understand how to work with them, not like, okay, I can't work with you. You have to understand what will work with any particular vendor. At the same time, you have to manage your clients' emotions and their dream about the wedding. So if they, like I think in Bangalore, most of us get stumped by this when clients come and say, but it's a garden city, I want to do a wedding in the open gardens, in the lawns. We don't want any covers because it will spoil the beauty. And as a planner, you know this city is given to rains at any given point in time. What happens? So you have to keep planning for plan B, even though you know you have to manage the client's dream of having a wedding in the open. And then how to manage the vendors, see what their strengths, see what their weaknesses, what they're doing, what they're thinking, where they're coming from, where they're falling short. See, when you're a people's person, you don't look at a person or a vendor and say, you know what, he doesn't have this skill set, I don't think this will work with him. You look at it and say, okay, I think there's a possibility of doing something with him, maybe he will work. So you're constantly evolving your vendors as you keep evolving. And I think that's one of the skill sets you require as a wedding planner. And that's why it's tough, because you're managing emotions, you're managing people, and to top it all, you can't have likes and dislikes.
And I'm sure all your vendors are still very much associated with you.
A lot of vendors, yes. We always make long-term associations. I've worked with vendors who were there with me for almost 10 years back also, and they have evolved with us. And what I see today is that there was one vendor who was doing only corporate events, and he said, you know, weddings are difficult for me, I will not enter this field. But I saw he had a talent. He was very, very particular about the hygiene of the event. Like nothing was out of place, everything was covered, stitched together, and I really needed that cleanliness. I told him, do one event with us, I'll help you, I'll explain to you how this works. Third wedding onwards, he's been there. And after that, he's done such big weddings and gone places, and that makes me feel happy that, you know, and it's just not one story, there are many such stories, but that is the satisfaction we have.
Wonderful. Srini, coming to you, wedding is like the fourth biggest industry, but it's still quite underdeveloped and unorganized. So how do you think that we can make this industry better organized?
As Nilma everyone who are here, Divya, Nilma, and everyone has mentioned, getting in different teams together, okay? It's one of the largest industry, but imagine if you're actually having a technology, IT industry, the processes are set for that particular industry. But here, we are multiple industries into one industry, technically speaking. So, adapting these different processes, you talk about a AV process is entirely different. Like, the AV companies work for weddings, they work for events, they work for corporate conferences. Okay. Similarly, you have a different process for manpower, hospitality, logistics. But getting all of these things into one place, it's not an easy one. Definitely, there's a lot of work going behind, especially these great associations are actually putting in a lot of strength to make them very organized. It'll take some time, eventually it will happen. But on the contrary, if you also look at it, everyone in this room who are sitting here, wedding planners, okay, do you think you like this to be organized? One. Two, even if you like this to be organized, is that possibly, is it possible 100%? Say yes or no. Or maybe, Sultan, that goes to you. Yeah, you got into the technology front, man, that's a problem. Okay. But it's not an easy one, okay? And as it's always mentioned, you're jack of all trades, okay? Especially an event planner or a wedding planner should have that skill in all of these areas, along with the tinge of common sense, okay? Otherwise, it's not possible to become a successful planner. I would say you can still become a planner, but what is that thing which will take you to that edge? Till the time you don't have this all areas knowledge, it's not an easy one. And getting all of these areas knowledge into an organized structure is on the way, but it's not an easy one. I would actually say that.
Definitely, I'm sure about that. But one thing for sure, everyone's talking about common sense and people management. So I think that's the key. Okay, let's move on to Farah. So Farah, you're known for someone who does larger than life sets. As I said, you're the Sanjay Leela Bansali of the wedding industry. Where do you draw your inspirations from?
Okay, I'm blushing with the whole Sanjay Leela Bansali thing. But I personally believe I've got a long way to go there. But the fact being that I get a lot of inspiration for my sets from Sanjay Leela Bansali movies itself.
So then I was right.
In fact, we've designed a couple of sets based on this movie. For example, movies are our biggest inspiration, you know. So if I'm looking for a Sangeet set, then I look at item numbers. Okay? You've got the best of the sets in your item numbers. So you pick up layouts and sets from there and then you design into your own. There's inspiration in everything. Okay? You're walking, you look at a temple and then you see that this is something that I could convert it into indoors and then I could do maybe a Telugu wedding into this. Okay? There's inspiration in everything. You cannot create something that does not exist because it's impossible to create something that does not exist. So there's inspiration in everything, but your biggest inspiration comes from your client because your clients push you to think beyond your capacity kind of a thing. So I think your biggest inspiration comes in when you listen to your client in detail. There are these two lines which make you understand what he's saying and what he wants. And there is where you get inspired and you say that this is what is going to click with him. And you get the direction for your research, saying that now we've designed sets. So a client wanted a castle, and he did not want it to look very Venetian and things like that. And I remember watching an animated movie, and we picked up a 136 feet setup from that animated movie because we saw some windows and arches that were looking really beautiful in the background kind of a thing. So I think there's inspiration in everything that you see. You just need to have an eye for it.
I agree, but we also need to talk about social media. You know, when you talk about inspiration, I think a lot of it is also with social media and technology because it has quite a huge impact on the wedding industry. So how do you think, I'll ask that question again. So social media and technology, they have a significant impact on the wedding industry, especially in a country like India, where social media plays a substantial role in celebrations. So could you discuss how these changes have influenced your work?
Earlier, we used to do sets and we would show it to the client, it would come out really well and the client would be really happy. Saying that, because that's the only thing that he would be seeing, okay? But now there's a benchmarking. This is what I had seen online, okay? And now they've actually kept you at your game kind of thing. I think social media has not let you get lazy. They have not let you stick into your zone, saying that earlier you used to have these specialist genres saying that someone who does only Telugu mandap, someone who does only Sangeet, someone who does only modern weddings and things like that. But now, with so much of information passing on, okay, you do a wedding, 2 hours you're viral. 2 days back I did a birthday party and people are already talking about it. Earlier for that information to reach used to take forever. I think the change that we've brought in is that earlier we used to make sure that your set looks good on site and then it has everything that your client has dreamt of. But now there's a third angle that has added to it, which is it needs to look good on the social media. It needs to look good on the social media. Because what looks good on the social media and what looks good live are two different things. Okay? And we as event managers do understand that, but clients do not understand that. Okay? They come up with something that they've downloaded from online and then they're just showing you one centerpiece and asking you to create a set around it. It has become a little unrealistic kind of a thing. But I think we've worked our way around it. We take those references, okay, we tell them that we feel them and then we design our set around it and then we give them a picture which looks similar to what they had shown us into our reference. So only day before yesterday when I was doing an event, one of my team member came up to me and she said, saying that, ma'am, we've got such a big setup, why do we need to prop it? I said, it's for the social media, it's not for it's not for online. So another thing that social media has done is it's made it easy for you to market yourself because it is your social media that sells you kind of thing. So
I think,
that's how it is.
I think to add to her point, we had a instance with one of our wedding clients where the would-be bride was actually trying to show a few references on social media, especially Instagram. We call that wedding as Instagram wedding later, internally in our office. So she's actually shown the caterer idli made in the shape of angry birds. And she has asked the caterer to please design my breakfast menu around this theme and like this. Angry bird idli. And the caterer did it actually.
He did it, but post that he was like, क्या काम करवाने के लिए लेके आया हूँ? Angry bird idli.
He became the angry bird.
I think sometimes you realize that couples haven't grown out of birthday parties yet. I think this is called the gram positive, Instagram positive. Like your decor has to be gram positive.
Absolutely.
It has to look good on Insta. That's
Yeah. And I think even the trends, a lot of trends have
I
changed.
forgot a point, I just have to say.
Yes, please.
In our presentation, now we put a separate section of 3 slides wherein we have put social media as a separate segment altogether, wherein we hire people for doing the reels of the wedding, where the page is created and we making ways to make it viral kind of a thing. So it's a business opportunity. I told you I learned my business.
Oh.
The guy who actually does the social media job for us, he has realized when Farah was talking about, I think you should actually do something for the weddings, and then he has come up with a concept called Shadi Paparazzi. All that he does is they do only reels and social media management for weddings and social events.
that's a big deal today.
Yeah, that is definitely, undoubtedly a
and
big deal.
Even we hire social media content people so that they can create behind the scenes of the wedding, and they handle their wedding page for 3 months to 6 months kind of a time, and the reels are going, and it's private, it's only to, so I think this has become a big thing, the social.
So we've got, what do you call those, contests and things like that running on social media, and then we did this with the client, and we had a charter that we were flying to Goa, and all of a sudden people out of nowhere just start jumping into the aisle and they start dancing, and the pilot got really irritated. He literally had to announce to wear the safety belt kind of a thing. So it's that mad.
Yeah, but you know, a lot of inspiration definitely from social media, undoubtedly. And today things have changed. The wedding industry has changed. Earlier there was a wedding season. Uske alawa kaam nahi hota tha, but now you have work throughout, any day and every month and every time is a wedding season these days. Also, there was a time when 1,500, 2,000 people had to be there. Inke uncle, unke chacha, inke padosi, वगैरह वगैरह. You know, the list would go on and on. But I think these days, a lot of youngsters prefer to have a very close wedding, a destination wedding, a wedding that looks nice on social media. Obviously, that is the inspiration, but expectations भी बहुत high है. You know, budget कम है, expectations भी high है. They want something to look amazing. So Nilma, let me ask you this question: how do you manage to give them amazing work, great sets, destination weddings as well, and ensure that it's, you know, manages their budget as well?
Like Farah said, main thing is you listen to the client's story because they are your inspiration. So I always send out a form and I ask them what their story is, how they met and things like that. For example, we had a couple that met on Bumble. So we came up with this caption saying meant to be. So we used the bee as a motive for the whole wedding and the collaterals and signages everywhere. So we try to do a lot of detailing when there is a budget constraint, and there's a smaller group of people because they understand the couple and it's not just some random uncle ka, auntie ka, somebody else. So there is a lot of detailing that goes into it when there is a budget constraint. Another point I would say is try to enhance that destination that you have taken, because the client is spending so much money to go all the way there, and you honestly bring these huge structures and you cover up that entire space. It just doesn't make sense. See the property, stand at a distance, understand what it is. If it has beautiful arches, enhance the same with nice drapes or pretty flowers over there. This again will be like a great way to work out the budgets. I remember I did this wedding in Lalit Mahal Palace in Mysore. And once the setup was done, the manager came to me and he told me that I've never seen anyone do a setup like this, because the palace has these beautiful large pillars and we just added pretty drapes and a few chandeliers to it. And he told me that every vendor who's come here, every decorator who's come here has put this huge backdrop and covered the entire palace and people can't see it at all. What is the point of bringing all the people over there? So I would say try to understand the property and do the decor according to that. Another point I would say is try to work with local vendors. I recently did a wedding in Mahabalipuram, so I worked with a lot of local vendors over there. And I see Bangalore becoming a huge hub for destination weddings. A lot of people have been coming from all over India over here. Unfortunately, a lot of wedding planners have been working with Delhi people and Bombay or Rajasthan decorators. There's so much in Bangalore. I just hope that in the future, like, through forums like this, through collaborations like this, people know what we have to offer, and people in Bangalore as well get an opportunity.
I think I should also add, not just Bangalore, as in from the entire South.
Collaboration is the key. Divya, I'm again continuing with the same topic that we've been talking about. Things have changed, trends have changed. How do you stay updated on the current trends? How do you know what's happening?
I think after COVID, one of the things which has really taken off is technology. And it's, that's one thing which has taken over. And what we do is, again, we try to keep in touch with all of that with our couples, because many of our couples earlier who were either doctors or engineers, today they are all coming from various different fields. Some of them are working for Netflix, some of them are working for AI. So they come up with new things, and they are actually, I learn from them so many things on how to, they tell us about apps, they tell us about the technology, they tell us how to make things more easier, and it's wonderful because there's a different collaboration happening with them, and they're also fun because they also understand that, okay, this can be simplified like this can be done. So one is that. The other thing is we learn with a lot from the younger generation, the Gen Z. I'll give you an example. I was sitting with a bride and we were discussing something, and she looked at something and said, this looks so sus. And I didn't understand the word. So I am thinking, what did she say? So I went home and asked my son was like, I was talking to him and he's 14, and she said, it's so sus, I don't know. She said, Ma, you need to get on and understand this language because very soon you will not know what they're saying. I said, what is sus? He said, it means suspicious. It means it's not like I don't like it or it's not right. So now this is the latest. So when I'm writing an email, if I'm writing to the parents, I bring back my school English and I write in that language. Otherwise, I open ChatGPT and I say, translate this in Gen Z language. And then I send it to you. Because really, I feel after a while, I will not know how to converse with them. So it's become one of those things which I think when our parents saw a change in this generation, it was from maybe 1 to 10. But I guess we have taken a leap from 1 to 100 as far as technology is concerned. So for us to keep pace with them, we have to keep accepting what the younger lot is doing and just keep learning, because that's the only way. And frankly, I've learned a lot from the couples I have worked with.
This is so true. I think a lot of them would kind of resonate with what you just said. It's really tough to understand the language, but yeah, thank you to ChatGPT. Okay, Farah, handling the cultural and regional diversity of India, of weddings in India can be complex. So, share some examples of unique and cultural diverse weddings that you've planned in India.
I strongly believe India is culturally diverse, but we've got a lot of unity in our diversity. Okay, maybe it's a haldi, maybe it is a Mangal Snanam in Telugu, but more or less all your events revolve around the same thing. Okay, it's just the names that keep getting changed, and except for the last day ritual, there's no drastic difference in what actually happens in a wedding. If you see, 10 years back, Sangeet used to be a Marwari or a Punjabi thing only. Okay, today, Sangeet is into Telugu weddings, Sangeet is into South Indian weddings. Sangeet has become like a part of each of the weddings. But as you are asking me if I have to give you an example of a culturally diverse wedding that I have done. So, 4 years back, I got this bride married. So, this is how it goes, I'm not exaggerating. The bride's mother is a Telugu Hindu. The father is a Christian. She was getting married to a German whose father was a Muslim and the mother was a Christian. So I got the same bride married 4 times in 3 days in 4 different rituals. One was Arya Samaj wedding, then we did a Christian wedding, then we did a Nikah, and then we did a Telugu wedding. And we've done 3 weddings in their families where her sister is married to a Sindhi. So I have experienced doing a Sindhi wedding in the same family as well. And the son is married to a Marwari and the other son is married to a Bihari. So I think we call it the India wedding kind.
So you've got the
Yeah,
experience
that's
there.
becoming very common now. At least in Bangalore, we experience this diversity only because it's a very global city. A lot of people coming from outside. But yes, this has been the trend for a while. And I think what she mentioned about Bumble, the last 7 weddings we have done, surprisingly,
All Bumble.
all the couples met on a dating site, not arranged marriages. And it is surprising that some algorithm is working with these dating sites that they are meeting. When I see the couple, I see them so much in love. I feel they have known each other for like ages. Then to realize it was just a year back that they met. But just to see that chemistry, so much in love.
So one of my friend got married 12 years back to someone she met on a Yahoo chat room. And I could just not digest it at that point of time, that how could you just meet someone on a chat room and then just get married to him. But yeah, I think it's working.
These are the trends.
Well, that's love. So, Srini, this is a question I want to ask everyone, but I'm going to ask this to Srini. There are many successful wedding planners and event organizers in the industry, but what do you think sets you apart and what makes you different? And I want to continue that question. What do you think that professionals in this industry should continue to maintain that status?
I would like to skip the first question, but I would actually like to answer the second one. मैं ऐसा कोई बड़ा तोप नहीं हूँ आज भी. I'm still learning. That's what I feel. And the second one, yeah, in fact the answer is for the second one. I think constant learning, accepting the changes and adapting to the generation gap, what we're talking about, to the generation, especially with this young brides and grooms. A lot of times we also get irritated because of this Instagram Instagram wedding references. But on the contrary, if you actually look at it, if you hear them out properly, they will actually make our life very easy. Because you will exactly understand what is the direction. Earlier, when you're trying to explain things, maybe it is a imaginary direction what we need to make, but now we exactly know what is that they are asking for, what is that they are looking for. So, in most of the cases, they actually make our life easy. So, adapting to these changes, adapting to the technology learnings. We're talking about just like 2 days back, the large birthday event what we did in Hyderabad. We started using dynamic hoist. We used them in corporate events and product launches earlier, but no one has actually expected that we'll use a dynamic hoist in a birthday. I think weddings have become a little passé now. It's more, we call them social events and celebrations, actually celebratory social events. We did a destination baby shower. We did a destination 50th birthday. We did a destination dhoti ceremony. 35th birthday, what we're doing right now, it's a 3-day setup, a massive one. So it's like the list goes and goes on. And I think if you don't get adapted to these areas of business, you will just get stagnant over there. If you have to up your game, learning is important, and then adapting to these new event style, new age events.
Yeah, very, very well said, I think, Srini, what you said. And I think one of the other points that I would say for which is common to all these successful planners and decorators is that show up. Come what may, just show up. Like Nilima mentioned that something goofed up on the side of my vendor, but I paid the price, but I paid up. That is one of the important things which I feel when a lot of newcomers or a lot of planners are there. I hear these stories very often that the vendor didn't show up and their event couldn't happen or something went wrong. And that is something you cannot do. The minute you show up, you have that one talent which is called integrity within you. Everything will work out fine for you. You will be successful in whatever you do, but just show up.
I think you will win back that trust from the client. In fact, we experienced this about 9-10 years back. We had an instant where the bride in the Mehendi event, she wanted to have a rotating stage. She wanted a stage in the center of the lawn, and she wanted to see all the activities and games happening at the side. Farah was like, "Are you really? Are you sure about it?"
I was getting giddy with the thought of it.
So and imagine.
You should have just given her some alcohol, then she'd be like...
We had a vendor, and unfortunately, the large third table was only available with one vendor then back in Hyderabad. The show starts at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, post-lunch Mehendi event like a sundowner, and this vendor turns up at 2 o'clock. Okay, everything is ready except that rotating stage.
He overslept.
And you know, right, the bride and the family, they come early to the event. They're 2:15, 2:20. Papa, ye nahi hai. And uncle was like, he actually gone mad. Good thing that we were standing there. We said, ho jayega. And karwa denge. And 3:05, it was ready. And today the same client trusts us so much, and it's been 9 years. We have done 5 different biggest events in their house. The one I was talking about, the destination baby shower, is the same family. His son's baby shower, his daughter's wedding we did. Now we're doing the first birthday in the family. We're doing their first cousin's destination wedding. So that was the first event where we stood up, and till date, wherever we go and sit with them, their ideas are actually mind-boggling. Like beyond, sometimes we can't understand. They wanted Khali to come and participate in their, yeah, you heard it right. He says, the bride's sister-in-law, she says, we want Khali to get the would-be mother like this. What?
So that was the idea. So
They
the
wanted
grand
to-
entry was supposed to be in Khali's hands.
And imagine, the theme was gold and glam, the day one. It was a 3-day baby shower. And because the theme was gold and glam, we started giving them different ideas of a photo op zone. Can you imagine what she might have, just wild guess what she might have asked for a photo booth? Wild guess.
That's way too wild.
She wanted to have Bappe Lahiri with all his jewelry sitting along with the sofa where people would actually come and click the picture. I said, he will kick us out. And that is what she asked for. But yeah, the real one. It was a 3-day baby shower, and
No,
we
the
had,
way she goes on narrating it. Farah, आप पीछे है ना 8x8 का backdrop लगा देना, और वो जो पुरानी वाली महाराजा वाली चेयर आती है ना गोल्ड वाली, वो लगा देना, और आप बप्पी लहरी को बुला देना, उसको बोलना कि अपना सारा ज्वेलरी पहन.
So I think, Rubina, we are not doing justice to this session. We need more time with them.
Yes.
sorry.
Since Nilma is quiet, I wanted to ask you as well, Nilma. Do you want to add something to this? Okay, but you
enjoying
can tell us about some of the challenges that you see in this industry. Some of the challenges that you face in this industry, and how do you overcome them?
One of the, I wouldn't call it a challenge, but one of the things that's been bothering me lately is kind of the dignity of labor. Where I see, like maybe in 5-star hotels or venues, which are thriving on weddings, where their main income is weddings, they have just one toilet for about 80 to 100 workers who are going to be there for setting up the whole space. And of course, sometimes the labor in India, like, they are not that respectful of sorry. They're not that respectful of the spaces. You know, they end up spitting pan and they're just walking all over the space, not respecting it. We have to educate them, I think, at the end of it, but still I feel there should be some dignity for labor. I've seen sometimes they just tell them to go down to the basement, there's like a sewer line running there, and they ask them to have food there. So this has been bothering me a lot lately, and I feel that we need to get together and probably take a stand and say that please don't just take care of us, the designers and the planners, please take care of our labor as well. So that is one thing that I feel that we need to bring
That is really wonderful. I really hope we all take that into consideration. And I think if we all put together, things will definitely change. And the last question I have for you, Divya, is a lot of sustainability, eco-friendly is what we're talking about. And I think it's quite important that we give importance to this. So how do you kind of blend sustainability into your wedding?
So, Rubina, one of the good things that has happened is that after COVID, the general clientele has become very, very focused on sustainability. I remember before 2020, whenever we talked about, zero, footprint weddings, and we used to wanted to get somebody from outside to make sure that the whole garbage segregation happens at source and nothing is going in landfill. There's a certain cost attached to it. And our clients would just make a fuss about it, that why should we do this? Because if the wedding is in this location, the venue will take care of it and all that. But we used to insist on those things. Today, I don't have to insist. They ask for it. And they have understood that if we don't take care of the environment and we are not sustainable in our habits, then it's not good for I mean, the larger mankind or whatever. And so and they're taking pride in the fact that we do a sustainable wedding. So one of the things which has gone out and slowly on its way out is wedding invitations. Nowadays, people have gone up to e-vites. They hardly print 5 or 10 cards for giving elders and, for the prayers of ceremonies, but otherwise it's all e-vites. Packaging, I mean, even though, with all due respect to everybody who does gift packaging and all, they're trying to see that it's as practical and durable and sustainable as possible. Rather than giving big hampers which are made of wood which you can't take away and which have to be taken away by the housekeeping after a while, they're trying to see if we can give them foldable bags or, something that they can take it with their, travel bags. So these kind of things have come into place, and even if we find something new, like for example, we tell our florists that when you're getting flowers, try and make sure they're in the banana leaf or something which is, biodegradable, which is not, like this. Or hotels have started doing that, like you see water bottles now, the glass water bottles, which was not something which happened before 2020. So these things are new, and I'm sure it has started off, and it's a wheel which is, chugging along.
I'm glad we are on the right direction. Okay, so now let's open this forum. Any questions?
Okay, you can take in a quick question, please. So in the interest of keeping it in time, anybody has a question, we'll take a quick question.
Hi, I'm Shraddha from Eventlicious. I'm into weddings and corporate events. I started 7 years back. Like most of the time we have a challenge. Client wants bigger, like they have very big dreams and they don't have a budget. And here on the other side, and like I'm thinking like I want to do the best and I'm not able to give in their budget. I try spending more than what I am getting. So most of the time it happens. Now I have started giving a little more budget, but still I feel like it's not coming to the finish. How do I rectify that thing? How do I work on it?
We spoke about budget, but Srini, yeah.
No, I think I'm damn sure all of us who are sitting here have actually gone through that phase. You keep practicing your best practices in terms of delivering the best, but over a period, you need to cautiously put an effort to make them understand, hey, listen, we can definitely do this, but this is the kind of money what we need to deliver that. On the contrary, if we have this budget, we will definitely deliver the best in that budget as well, but you accept the fact 1 kilo sugar के पैसे में 10 किलो तो मिलेगा नहीं, 1 ही किलो मिलेगा. बस ये समझना चाहिए. अगर कोई बोलेगा कि 10 किलो देगा, वो कहीं ना कहीं घाटा मार रहा है. So I think it's way you need to put it a little better, but 7 years is a long time for you to still practice that thing, because even today after 10-15 years also we also end up spending more than what we charge, but I think that will actually keep all of us going forward. That's one thing which will keep us happy. If you are not satisfied by yourself, you can't satisfy your client. So I think you're not doing anything wrong, just that you need some more effort and the way you actually put it forward.
I think what Srini said is right, that we've all gone through this. When we see the budget has, the clients have a limited budget and they want the world and the stars and everything else. One of the things is to show them value in what you're getting. Once they see value, because what you're providing them is a service, it's not a product which has a cost to it. So they don't, and in India servicing has always been on a downside, where we don't, like she said, dignity of labor is not there. We don't respect servicing. But slowly and slowly that understanding has to come, and you have to show that value, that what you're providing and what you're giving has a certain cost to it. I think then you will pass that space, and there are some events you will do just because you want to do them, to learn something. You're not looking at profits, and there are some events where you will eventually end up making profits because of those learnings. So it works both ways.
Another hack into it is just need to add on the extras. That's where you actually cover up your losses. That's what all of us do, and that's what you balance it out.
Alright, so thank you for it. That'll be all from the panel. Let's hear a round of applause for them, please. Thank you for sharing your valuable insights. And